Hello everyone, you read the title of the video and I hate long intros, so let's get going. The Discharge Claw Shot. I already mentioned this technique in my full guide on Switch X, but I want to talk about it a bit more in detail in this video, because the game never tells you about this chain and I don't see many people doing it, even though it is the fastest way to use zero-sum discharge and even otherwise has a lot of uses. So, you basically start the discharge while you aren't in end state yet, and shortly before the discharge happens, you perform a claw shot. The claw deals pretty good damage actually and gives a big chunk onto your amp meter while not consuming switch gauge, and I'm pretty sure that this is the only move to do that, making it really valuable in amp meter buildup and preserving your switch gauge. Keep in mind that you don't even have to perform the ZSD after pulling yourself towards the monster. You can also just soften up its height or wallbang it if it isn't enraged, or just drop down again. Number 2, the wild overhead slash. If you love X mode, you know that your overhead slash deals really good damage, but it can't be accessed from neutral. Always have to chain into it, but what would be the fastest way to do so? If you watched my playstyles video about Switch X, you may already know from the power trip playstyle. By going into wild swing and directly after the first swing, you can chain into a regular overhead slash, which comes out faster than in any other chain. It is good for poking the monster and with power X mode can quickly lead to a trip or stagger. After the overhead slash, you may be able to connect the backwards fading slash, which has a pretty high motion value as well, meaning it deals good damage, for a very quick high damage X chain that also repositions you. Number 3, starting the monster stay with the correct bang. Waking up a monster should always be done with the one attack with the highest motion value, because the very first attack on a sleeping monster is doubled in damage. With Switch X you have basically 3 options. 4 if you could perform a sliding attack on a sleeping monster. These are the top 3 moves with the highest motion value of Switch X. X Sweep has a motion value of 74, Heavy Slam 72, and the second hit of Wild Sweep 70. The easiest out of these to hit will probably be the Morph Sweep, because especially the second hit that you want to hit with has a lot of forward momentum. The Heavy Slam is pretty tricky to pull off because it doesn't have a great range like Morph Sweep, and the little overhead slash beforehand to swing into the Heavy Slam seems to have more reach than the Heavy Slam itself, but if you can pull it off, you would want to go for Heavy Slam. Since the jumping sweep is a sliding attack, you could only perform this attack in certain areas and rarely within the monster's nest, where it will probably go to sleep, unless you or your Pelico are running sleep weapons. But what about the elemental discharge? Good question, Xenocloud. And on paper, the discharge seems like the best option, since it has a motion value of 85. But the issue with this attack is it cannot crit. The elemental discharge finisher and the end state discharges on connected sword attacks cannot crit, which makes you lose a huge amount of potential damage from critting and crit boost. Let's do a very quick and very simplified version of damage calculation for the weapon alone, not considering the monster in this calculation. Your weapon deals 1000 damage with a motion value of 100. The elemental discharge finisher then deals 850 damage but cannot crit. The second hit of Morph Sweep only deals 700 damage, but if you crit even without crit boost, you'll deal 875 damage. With crit boost, even 980. Again, this is really simplified, but this is part of the whole damage calculation. But wait, there's more. The elemental discharge gets a 1.2 times multiplier when in amped state. So amped up, it deals more damage at 1020. Nope. The elemental discharge has a sharpness modifier, which makes it always be calculated at green sharpness, meaning all of this calculated at 1.05 no matter what sharpness your weapon is at, which results in 1071 damage, while the Morph Sweep with just blue sharpness and 1 level in crit boost deals 1092 damage. And that's why you don't wake up a monster with the discharge. Of course, you can still wake it up however you like, play however you want, but it isn't optimal, which is why you should be ashamed of yourself, according to some loud minorities in the community. Okay, enough math. I hate math. Because you suffered through me babbling about one single hit for ages, while you could just wallbang the monster to get an opening, you deserve one last interesting and secret technique. One brought to my attention thanks to Kimi. They told me you can perform the Heavy Slam slam after just 2 swings with a frame perfect input if you start the wild swing from the left side, which can only be done by performing a rising slash beforehand, at least to my current knowledge. So you go rising slash, wild swing, heavy slam. Very interesting and something I learned after over 1000 hours of playing Switch X. Thank you very much, Kimi. We are now basically looking for use cases for this specific chain, because the first question that comes to mind is, if I have to do a rising slash in order to do one less wild swing, I'm not really saving any time to perform the heavy slam, so it becomes very situational. For example, when a rising slash causes a flinch, you can put that technique to good use. But that was it for today's video. Thank you very much for your attention, all your comments, likes, and happy hunting, guys.